All right. And we are back. There we go. Okay. Okay. There we go. Lovely. Yep. Here we go. We're good. I have chat. All is well. Okay. So I am building this. Oh no. Oh no. You can't hear anything. Oh god. Ooh. What did I screw up? Video capture device. Audio input. Yes, I can see chat now. Uh okay, you hear me. Okay. I think I'm doing something right here. It was definitely the voice was showing up in my uh when I was testing out and hearing a recording. So I think it's all working good. Uh, I might do deck reviews at some point on stream. That is not what I'm doing today. I'm just I have this deck I need to workshop a little bit, and I figure I will just do a little bit of that. Um, though I think I'll probably stream some more MTGO gameplay probably tomorrow. Um, so that should be cool and fun. I want to get like a clip of that streamed and recorded for my second channel. Wonderful. So what I'm kind of trying to do here is, yeah, card suggestions are all good. What I'm kind of trying to do here is, this is a Katilda deck. I'm trying to keep it very, very low budget. So I'm going within kind of the excluding basic lands constraint here, $25 ish. Just trying to keep it under that, and I'm trying to see how much flicker I can integrate. I think a lot of the flicker is a little bit expensive, but I'm fine if I think the flicker is probably going to be the most expensive part of the deck, but I think that's fine. Um, Conjurer's Claws is definitely worth it for this sort of deck. Um, but yeah, I think this is kind of like a white riff on Rada. I find that there's just a ton of really good ETB white creatures um, that can kind of pivot into some later game nonsense. So I think with like Reverent Hoplite is pretty awesome with Katilda. You get some pretty current quantity of cheap humans. I am opting for a higher curved Katilda deck. uh Felia's kind of on the line. Like I can fit a $2 card if it's like really good. Like I'm running Conjurer's Closet currently. That's $2.50, but I think that's just so good that it's probably worth it. But yeah, I'm just trying to tweak this deck and get some more get some more flicker into it. I know there's several kind of flicker return to end of turn cards that I think are pretty solid. Those can also be board wipe dodges, and if I add more board wipes to the deck, those can be, yeah, I can turn something into a one-sided board wipe effectively. So I think there's a lot of potential value there. Um, I think Tree Shaker Chimera isn't all that good as draw goes. So I might give that a cut for now. Yeah, Far Traveler's decent. I'm just that one is very cheap. It is a very money cheap flicker engine. So I think in that way it's tempting for sure. I just don't know if the restrictions are too intense on it. Like obviously it needs commander out, which Katilda is definitely going to be a target for removal some games. If I get like a bunch of humans out off of something. So I have the full maybe board kind of off to the side here categorized. So those are just going to be all of the cards along the right side that are kind of separated with that little bit are going to be cards that I have considered but which are not in currently. So it's kind of a kind of a long list. I probably need to prune these so that the page isn't 10 miles tall. Whispery Angel's not probably a good enough card here. Austere Command is already something I've decided that I probably need, just because it's just so good. If I can hit low cost creatures plus enchantments or etc. and such like. Um, Guardian Faith is good. How much is it these days? It does not trigger my flickers though, which is the one thing that's kind of uh, making me not want to put a whole lot of money into it. Uh, Cards that get a bunch of humans are pretty decent acceleration, but yeah, we'll throw that in removal. Yeah, cards that create humans are decent acceleration. Although I'm kind of wanting to do some amount of either ETB lands or uh kind of Rata style stuff. Although honestly, Drum Hunter is not going to be good enough. I don't think. I do not like Drum Hunter here. I think we're gonna cut that. Torrents is interesting. I feel like in some ways it feels a little like win more here, just because it'll scale up to a lot of mana eventually, but this deck isn't fast enough where it's going to be getting impact immediately, and I'm kind of worried that it's going to like lead into a wipe or lead into Katilda getting hated out. I'm not digging Tree Shaker Chimera. It's not a bad card. I just feel like there's gotta be better draw here. Genesis Storm was one I really wanted to add. This is one I've considered for Rada, but I think the fact that a lot of the creatures are Cascade makes me a little hesitant. Here, there is both less Cascade, and I think the Commander is going to be more of a target for removal. So I would call this later acceleration. Let's see, sorcery. I don't know that I need to be categorizing the card type, but yeah, whatever. It seems fine enough. I don't know if I want Stone Cedar Hierophant. It's definitely decent though. It's a very, very decent card. Cultivator Colossus. I am not doing deck reviews today. This is one of my decks that I am tuning, but I'll probably stream some deck reviews at some point in the coming weeks because that's a fun thing to do. Um, I am not I'm not really feeling Thunderfoot Blast here. I think this deck is a little bit slower than the Rada deck. Vizier of Deferment. I have not heard of that. Or have I? Is that what no, that's Angel of Condemnation. Deferment. You may exile target creature if attacked or blocked this turn. Interesting. Okay. I think I'm mostly trying to avoid the one-time flickers. I just think I can get more value than that. So, but it's definitely interesting because at a certain point you can start putting in those one-time flickers, and then if you flicker your board, then suddenly, it turns into extra flickers. Um, the deck should be linked in the comments or in the description. Um, it is a It is a Katilda deck that is kind of a Errata battlecruiser type thing. I don't know that this is going to be a workable list quite yet, but I am just gonna see where it ends up if I end up feeling like it's got a lot of potential. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. Um, yeah, so I think this card is not quite what this deck is looking for, just because it's kind of a more aggressive card. I mean, I guess it's good if I get a bunch of humans. I don't. How much token creation do I have currently? Creature token. Yeah, Alex budget Katilda build is definitely good. So yeah, I have some creature tokens. These are on the chopping block, so I don't even know about those. So I have like these four basically, which are nice, but it's not that much. Yes, you don't have. I haven't really felt the need to have haste in the Rada deck. It's very much like a. I find it kind of fun to play a bunch of bullshit and then give people a turn to to prepare. It's one of those things where I'm sure you could make the deck more effective at killing people, but I think it's perfectly fine to have it just kind of not be super fast. Livio. What does Livio do? Livio Oathsworn. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a seems like an interesting commander. So this deck is going to be serving a somewhat different purpose. If it ends up being the deck I choose for this, it's going to be very budget. So I need to trim down on kind of any of the higher costed value engines and stuff. No, uh, no kind of Case of the Locked Hothouse, no Beast Whisperer. I'm going to be missing a lot of kind of the draw engines there. I think the addition of white also allows the deck to pivot in a more controlling direction. So that is going to be cool. There's just so much flicker you get, and there's so many like white creatures with disgusting ETBs. Like if you flicker an Angel of the Ruins, like I already know that's gross from my Shroom deck. But yeah, there's just a lot of gross things you can do with white. Also, I wasn't familiar with this card. This card's pretty sweet. Had not seen that before. That is pretty cool. Honestly, a lot of these are kind of like Angel of the Ruins and Protector of the Wastes are both kind of making my Terracodon look a little sad. Like it's not a bad card, but it's there's a good chance it's going to end up getting cut just because there is so much better removal out there. So this isn't going to be a deck I have in my normal pool of decks. I just wanted to build a budget deck for a specific sort of budget deck purpose, and just trying out a version of this. I also might look at some other options. I just want like a very kind of slower, grindy deck. And this seemed like an interesting thing to explore a little bit just to see whether it would end up turning out interesting. I don't know if Zotalpa is what I want in this deck. Zotalpa is very good. It's just like a very solid stabilizer threat. Rampaging Yao Guai. Oh yeah, that's a card. How do you spell that? There we go. Yeah, definitely a decent card. Although it doesn't work with Flicker is my concern. Like I guess it can mess up a bunch of like little rocks. Yeah, honestly, I think I excluded Up the Beanstalk from Rada because I wanted to keep the gimmick of nothing below 4 mana. I just find that really fun. Um, I also just don't think I need it. There's plenty of good value engines, um, but in this case, I'm trying to optimize a little bit more on a budget. So I think Up the Beanstalk makes more sense here. Although I could still see it being worse than like some like ETB stuff. I don't know. I have not fully looked. I do need an Eternal Witness in here. That is one thing I do need, because that if I run Eternal Witness, the all of the like Semester's End Ghostway style cards become so much better. Yes, let's get an Eternal Witness in here. Let's get our Mass Flicker cards in here, and then we'll see where we're at. So I'm gonna throw this under. Is it really $1? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw that under value. Value? Draw? Sure, draw. Toss up Titan of Industry. Titan of Industry is decent. That's one of the ones I'm guessing I'm probably not going to spend big on the removal of the deck, just because there's a lot of like flicker and draw that is a little bit more expensive. But yeah, I have this kind of category of various ETB creatures. Overworld Hydra honestly kind of sucks, so that's not going to be what I'm looking for here. Mostly because this is a budget deck that's just not going to have decent lands. Um, Thorn Mammoth and Kogla are ones that are a bit more likely to make it in. Timeless Witness is not bad either. Timeless Witness is definitely one I would consider for sure. And I could see it just being the case that more copies. I guess it is also a human, so that's probably worth just popping in right now. Yeah, so let's get Timeless Witness in there. Because yeah, I think if I can start doing the Eternal Witness flicker value loops, that I feel like is a good play pattern to start striving for if I'm looking for this to be like a really gross later game grindy deck. Yeah, so let's get this in here. I definitely have some kind of jank flicker in right now. So yeah, main board flicker category. I need to hit up the architect people and ask them if they can differentiate main board and maybe board categories. I love making feature requests. Pin on Bushwhack. Bushwhack is decent. I think my land count is high enough where I don't feel the need for Bushwhack. I guess I could like cut a land and have a Bushwhack in here, but um, I would rather just keep the high land count and then go from there. I'm running Eagles of the North, which is kind of similar to a Bushwhack, but I think that one feels a bit better because it also has an ETB. All right, let's get Lazel's Acrobatics in here. I think this card is lovely. Like it a lot. Um, and then Ghostways, I think a little bit more expensive and also it's not really worse, I guess, because I don't really have 1/1 counters in this deck. I don't think. I should double check that for sure. Parting Gust. Parting Gust is decent. Yeah, I would definitely consider that. I should add that to my. I'll add that to my maybe board and we'll take a look at it in a bit. I was also considering some other really jank flicker, like Mirror of Life trapping is flicker in the sense that it, you know, can have a creature enter twice. It also flickers for my opponents. I don't know if that matters. I wonder how many Hydra decks you would nail with this, or like other decks that have some sort of like thing that goes on a creature based on the casting. I have no sense of how good that would be, honestly. Um, that's a really interesting card. Like the super cheap cost is interesting. Um, Eternal Dragon. I like Eternal Dragon. I don't know if this is the deck for it. Uh, Fierce Empath was one I was definitely considering. I think Woodland Bellower is like two something, so it's 254. It's not bad. It's a very good. Yeah, it's not no cast clause, and I am running a handful of. I am running a handful of 3 drops. Yeah, ooh, it grabs Ewit. Ooh. Okay, hold on here. That's that's really good. Okay, yeah, because if I get it's only green creatures, so it would have to be Ewit or I'm probably not adding Champion of Lambholt. I don't think it's worth the budget. But if I added Fierce Empath along with Woodland Bellower, maybe Pop Torrens back in, I think that could become really good. That's kind of interesting. Um, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Is there a way to see his full list as you're editing? Yeah, I mean it. I think I have the list linked. I don't know where YouTube streams show descriptions. But if not that, it's also on my Architect profile. I just made it public, I think. So yeah, Yannick. What is Yannick? This card sounds familiar. Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. So I think the Great Aurora is just good in a big mana deck. Like anytime if you're building up and somebody else is trying to kind of put together a big board, throwing down the Great Aurora, I think throws a wrench in that pretty good. Although I might swap it out for a different board wipe. I think because I'm kind of considering it a board wipe here. Because if I'm behind on board, my opponents are head on board. It's gonna kind of reset that, probably give me the upper hand since I have a bunch of lands out. Presumably, if my ramping went well, I don't have a sense of how consistent this deck will be compared to the Rada deck, but that one I might swap out for a better board wipe. Not a better board wipe, but like a more like board wipey board wipe. I do think Cleansing Nova wants to be in here. Yes, we'll have to see about that. Okay, so I was adding. Yeah, I was gonna add Ghostway. I think there's a $1.20 printing of this. So is it that? Sure, we'll take $1.18. So that's gonna go in. So we're gonna pop these in, and then I just want to see if we can get the budget back down to a manageable level. Flicker instant, sure. Okay, so right now we are at 105 cards, $29 budget. So we got a fair amount to cut. Some of these I think are just kind of bad. Like I can't tell how good Gilrain is. It's probably good enough. It's definitely a little bit clunky. Do you have enough type variety? That's actually a good point. There's probably less type variety here than in some decks. Let's see, where do I see that? Quantity of subtypes. Human. No, you're right. Yeah, 4 angels. Like there's definitely some amount of variety here. Um, but yeah, I think 13 humans out of how many current creatures? I don't actually have a sense of how many creatures I'm running in this. I want to say like 35-ish. 41, 41. Okay. Yeah. I can see that, I guess, working out there. Having Temple of the False Gods to then fetch with Sowing Megaspawn. It's a +2 mana accelerant. Temple of the False Gods. Temple of False Gods is a card I usually hate. I think in higher land count decks, it's more forgivable. So that could be interesting. Sowing Megaspawn. Actually, I haven't considered Sowing Megaspawn. I mean, it's a little bit of a non-bow with flickers. Yeah, it's also $2. Unfortunate. Okay, so we need to cut a little bit of budget from this. Are there any lands that don't really need to be here? I think I was going to do like a caves package like I did before. Let me make sure I'm not like breaking the bank with my caves package. 25. Yeah, none of these caves seem too bad. They're all like very cheap. Yeah. Wave of Vitriol would be something for sure. Although I think I would just prefer to run an actual board wipe rather than Wave of Vitriol. Run like an hour of Rev or Cleansing Nova, but it's a very funny card. I would. I expect that this deck will be playing against other very cheap decks, so Wave of Vitriol is probably less good. Since there's fewer land options, more basics in decks, etc. True, I can't sort by price. That is definitely Stonehorn Dignitary is interesting. That's definitely one I might consider. I have like a kind of stabilization category here for like some life gain. Verdant Sun's Avatar is great. The rest of these I don't know. Baird honestly is kind of mid. I mostly just included him because he's a 4-cost human. Yeah, people love their Apex Altosaurs. It's a fun card. I think I ran it in my Glissa deck a while back. But okay, yeah. Somebody mentioned sorting by price, which is a good call. What do we got? Yeah, Con Closet for sure. Ewit, yeah. Do I need beans? Do I need beans? Do I need beans? I don't know if I need beans or not. I also don't know how I feel. Azuri's Predation I definitely would consider. That was one that I had in for a bit. Bumped back to the kind of maybe board. Might bring it back in. But how do we cut a little bit of budget from this? I don't know if I want Rampaging Veloths or not. I don't know if this is a deck that wants that. I'm gonna bump this for now. We might see about it later if we want more beatdown potential. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bump this to my maybe board. Market Festival and Dawn's Reflection. I don't trust Enchantment Ramp. I like, if I'm paying 4 mana for Ramp, I kind of want it to be lands. I think there could be some exceptions to that, but come on. Did I not cut you? Get out of there. I think, Druid of Purification. I think one I should probably cut here. It's a great card. Building this for $25 deck reasons. Is definitely not going to enter my kind of main pool of decks if it does end up being the thing I build. But yeah, I just want to play around with it, see how it works in white, see how cheap I can get it. And that will be kind of what's going on. Planar guide. What is a planar guide? Remove planar guide. What is that card? Oh, that is fascinating. Okay. Yeah, it's a creature that's it's budget flicker. That's interesting. Um, can't be looped with Ewit, so a little bit worse, but that's still kind of fun. I like it. Yeah, my thing with I kind of want to cut beans for now. I don't. Do I want beans? How many decklists have I made? A lot. Like if I go to my I think like yeah, I think like 2/3 of that is stuff that wasn't public, maybe 3/4. So return from exile card. Dragon Scale. Yeah, Dragon Scale General is decent. I just don't know if this deck is fast enough to want that. Like I'm really looking to grind and put on some control hate in late game. What is disorienting choice? For each opponent, choose a. Oh, okay. So it's like a riff on. Um, yeah, it's a riff on like the offer, the tempt with discovery. It's like kind of a riff on that. I that's I so if I'm giving my opponent choices, I want the amount of total value the card produces to be, I think, higher than this. Um, like how often is it just 3 lands? I don't know. Like the opponent has to have an artifact or enchantment, which is decently likely. But if they don't, this is a explosive vegetation at best because they do enter tapped. It is any land, but this is a budget deck, so there's not a whole lot there. It's interesting though. It's interesting. Uh, yeah. Druid of Purification is a human. That is so true. I hate it. Yeah, I know. I want the beans. The beans is good. Rift Sweeper. Oh. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. If Beans is drawing 1 card a turn, I'm pretty happy. Um, if I play it early, it might not do that immediately, but any turn after like 5, it should be drawing at least 1 card a turn. And then late enough, or if I get like a big burst of humans out with something like the flashback human generator card. Um, where is it? Increasing devotion. If I get increasing devotion, I can theoretically get beans pretty early. Time of need. Do I have legendary? I do have Thalia's Lancers for tutoring for legendaries because that is definitely a lovely thing. I'm trying to think if I have other legendaries that I'm like really, really wanting here. Also, Containment Priest. Rampage of the Clans is one I've considered, although I feel like, unironically, I feel like if somebody has a bunch of like little artifacts and enchantments, they can kind of just steamroll. I don't know. It's a little spooky. I feel like you need follow up for it, and I would rather just pay, 6 mana for an actual. Like, I can just run Cleansing Nova instead, and that's just like one more mana. You don't have to worry about getting trampled down by a bunch of 3/3 centaurs. That card is horrifying. I think the bears one is a little bit better. Like, because that one I think gives a bear to each player who lost a thing, and that's a little bit better. Yeah. It's ramp having 5 drops on turn 4 to 5 should be pretty consistent, I think. Um, so that Hana Keswick Ranger. In principle, Beans is quite good. I'm just trying to figure out how to fit in the stuff I want to fit in. Keswick Ranger. Yeah. That's like a little baby thorn mammoth. Yes, I'm trying to cut price a little bit. I almost want to cut what's too expensive in my lands? Because I think right now I'm spending $3 on lands. That's not too bad. It's not terrible. Um, yeah, so I cut out a couple of high drops. 2843. Yeah, Druid of Purification's really good. Big old Generous Ent. Yeah, Generous Ent is solid. I had it in for a bit, but it's like 40 cents, and I don't know. I don't even feel like land cycling is that good in this deck. There's just a lot of lands, and mostly sorcery speed plays. Fortune, I don't know. Fortune, so part of my issue with Felia is just that I don't fully trust it to be able to swing in consistently. Um, Fortune, I think, has some of the same issue. I know, yeah. The fact that this mana base is $3 is pretty sweet. I think the temples were like, you know, $1.50 when they were printed back in Theros, so it's definitely nice to be able to throw together a mana base that is this low cost. Congregation at Dawn. That one puts them on top of Library, right? There's like 3 cards on top of Library. I don't know if that. Yeah, 3 cards reveal, shuffle them, put on top in any order. Then shuffle and put those cards on top in any order. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's like $2, and I don't know that I like kind of a value negative sort of thing. There are definitely a lot of mana dump. I should just make an 8+ mana category in my maybe board, because there are definitely uh there are a lot of just like kind of 8 or more cost cards that are kind of goofy. I don't know that I'm really feeling Great Aurora at the moment. I'm gonna toss that there. We can maybe think about it later. I I really don't know how I feel about Abdel Adrian, honestly. Or like there's a similar angel that also like exiles any number of things you control. I think my hesitation with those is just that I really want to be able to flicker the Abdel Adrian to get them back immediately. Um, or to get some immediate value out. Like if they go under, pop back out, get a bunch of VTVs, go back under again, I think that's fine. But yeah. Broken Bond. Isn't Broken Bond the one that lets you put a land from your hand into play? Think of a different one. Yeah. The card's okay, but it's kind of tricky because it's low cost removal, but it's clearly intended for decks that run a lot of lands, which is not a super common niche in Commander. Foretell Angel is good. Yeah, there are definitely some number of those effects. Yeah, there's like I made a Torsten deck that had a whole bunch of those, and that definitely that works. It works when you hit like a critical mass of them, or if you have like the little cheap flickers. I feel a little bit spooked putting them into a higher cost deck, I think. Bag of Tricks. This is the same land count as Rada, I think. I think 41 works pretty well for decks where you want to be hitting your land drops every turn religiously. It also kind of works fine if you're running a bunch of land ramp because you get deck thinned over time. Roll a d8. Real test on top of your library. Creature card with mana value equal to the result. That'll whiff on some number of those. Like I guess I could put in like a 1-drop and a 2-drop and whatnot, but I don't really feel the need. $41 is also good. 41 I think works out okay as long as you have enough like draw and as long as you have enough stuff to dig through your deck. I'm a little worried about the draw here. In fact, God, how hard would it be to fit in the Fierce Empath Woodland Bellower is 254. I want that to be less. Ugh, I like the card so much. Because that's really lovely to have as like kind of a filter. It's almost like filtering because it can find Eternal Witness and it can find Fierce Empath if I were to add it. It's just this deck is struggling on budget because of the flicker cards all being kind of pricey. I could cut the Eternal Wanderer. I don't know. It seems like one of the worst flicker options. I'm drinking a energy drink I bought at Costco. It is lemon and raspberry. It's pretty tasty. Yeah, another round I think seems pretty solid to me. It's a little awkward that it's sorcery speed, but it just seems so potentially disgusting. Rachel Weeks. Hey Rachel, have you looked at Disciple of Kalis Nin? That card, I think this is trying to be a big mana deck. That is like almost like a counter to big mana, but that card is very funny. I love Disciple of Kalis Nin. I've never found a place to play it, but it's such a fun card. I think so. I think yeah, I want to say there was a Costco in my area that had some Final Fantasy stuff. But that I don't know. Even at a cheap price, I don't really feel the need. Oh, I'm sure Alk can convince me to fit Woodland Bellower in. Keeper of Fables is pretty decent. If I'm really trying to drop the budget of the draw suite, then I think that becomes decent. Um, that's not amazing though. Keeper of Fables. We'll toss that in there. It's worth considering at least. Um, Man, the fact that Mangara is so cheap these days is nice. I think that's got to stay in. If you consider Bramble familiar, is that the one? I know it's a 7-drop on the creature. I don't remember what the other effect does. Or no, it's 7 mana for the adventure. That's right. Yeah, I just don't need early ramp because I have Katilda. The car can flicker, and the car can also be removal. It's a funny card. I think I'm also running like I was maybe going to add. Yeah, I was actually looking at Caradora because there's some decent vehicles to grab and a couple that are flicker things. So like Golden Argosy flickers. If I were to add there's like that other one that flickers that somebody mentioned a little while back. Although I don't know that one's not all that tempting for me. But yeah, Caradora could grab Limousine, Argosy. Let me see. Two vehicle. Just those two? Yeah. I don't think I have any mounts in this deck. Yeah, no mounts. Perhelion is funny. I don't want to run too many like big dumb guys though, and I feel like Zatalpa has already taken up a big dumb guy slot, if that makes sense. Like, Parting Gust, that one does seem pretty decent. I would definitely consider that. Um, yeah, that seems good enough for sure. We'll toss that in because it can be a flicker, it can be removal, and if I don't have that much Cascade in this deck, but if I do Cascade into it, there are ways around that. So that seems pretty solid. Voice of Many. Voice of Many. That's like draw a card for each opponent who has fewer creatures than you. I don't. I could see it, but I don't like that it's conditional. I think I can do better than that. Parhelion over to Zatalpa. Let me see. Is Parhelion any money? Legitimately, I'm getting kind of tight on budget. Yeah, Parhelion. Let's see. Parhelion the second. Yeah, I don't feel like because one of the things that makes me like Zatalpa is just that it's been thrown in so many precons that it's a 16-cent card. Parhelion's closer to $1, and that's I don't want to be spending $1 on my big dumb guys. Pick your poison is a solid card. I don't think I need it here though. Really, I want like I definitely am seeing the appeal of Voice of Many just because I think it does fit a nice niche of being ETB draw at a kind of middling mana cost. If it literally just read draw 2 cards or draw, yeah, if it just read draw 2 cards, then I think I would like it a lot. I don't even need the 3 cards off of it, but I think the fact that it is not consistent is a little bit worrisome. Emergent Woodworm is actually decent, and that does do some things with Flicker, so I could definitely try that. I mean, it kind of does. Like, you scoop off the 1/1 counters, but also, like, it's scoop off the 1/1 counters, but you get another trigger of the backup, which I think is probably the bigger deal. I'm seeing... Is Emergent Woodworm actually almost $1? I could see. I know. I specifically called that card out as one I like. Yeah. Okay. That's Yeah, that's funny. Llanowar Tribe, is that the one that's like no, I think that one's like a $5 card, right? Not quite. No, no, it's budget. Um, it's not bad. I think I'd rather have like a. I think I'd rather take an explosive vegetation over it though. That just seems a little bit better. Because 3 mana, I will have 3 mana plays to weave in sometimes, but not super often. Great Oak Guardian, that's the one that untaps things. I don't know that that's going to be doing all that much for me here. Let's see. So cheaper printing of Sunblast Angel? Probably not. Ooh, I saved a cent. Ooh, I saved 5 cents. I definitely do need to crunch the budget here a little bit. Honestly, though, is this card good? It serves like a recursion purpose, I think, is kind of nice. See if there's a cheaper printing, so I don't need to think about it. 92 cents. 73 cents. I'm inclined to leave this out for the moment and try it again in a bit, because that's just... It's just worse. It's not meaningfully better than something like Luminant Primordial. That's a 25-cent card. I think it has some utility bringing back things from the graveyard. Yes, Philosophy is very similar with Rada, although this deck is looking to be a little bit grindier, a little bit more controlling. Red really doesn't have that many options for containing later game threats among its high cost cards. All the good removal is like low cost. All the good instant speed removal, I should say, is kind of low cost stuff. Woodland Acolyte. That's the one that it's the adventure one. Am I thinking the right one? Yeah. Put target permanent card from a graveyard on top of your library. That's a decent card. Put it in the maybe ward. Keep it for Angel of Ruin into your budget. Is there a different one? The World Spell. I've been using Architect for a while, and I've just never felt the need to swap over. Moxfield, I don't love the UI. I kind of like the layout on Architect. I know there are kind of options. Moxfield definitely has a lot of options for tweaking the UI to be more to your preference, which is, cool for it, I guess. But that's... Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You reveal a non-saga permanent card from among... It's decent. It doesn't... I feel like if I play this out, it gets one trigger and then it gets rocked by a removal spell, I'm going to be feeling pretty bad. And if you're ever reading ahead, this card is just kind of not great. Like, I guess it's fine if you, like, read ahead to 3, crap out a couple things for 7 mana, but that's... Seems... How much banding was I planning on including? Probably not a lot. This is kind of a battle cruiser deck built around Katilda. It's doing a somewhat similar thing to Rada, where it's got some kind of turn 3 ramp that speeds it up. But I'm trying to introduce a pretty robust flicker game plan, although the budget is fighting with me a little bit. So we gotta do some cuts. Protection is somewhat important, but what I like is that cards like Lae'zel's Acrobatics and Ghostway already do a protection purpose. Like you can do that in response to a removal spell. Kind of similar with like Parting Gust and Pegasus Guardian. Any flicker lets you dodge removal to some extent. So this deck definitely plays more at instant speed than the Rada deck did. Let's see, what can I cut for budget? Yeah, because if I can get this back down to budget, I might start considering if the Woodland Bellower Fierce Empath package works, because I think that's really tempting if I can make it happen. It's just rough that the card is $2.50. That's worth like several premium draw spells. Cataclysmic Gearhulk is one I would consider. Eerie Interlude is the one of those effects that's out of budget. The rest are around $1, which is workable. Genesis Storm, I think, just works. Like, the cards in here are pretty high costed, so if I Genesis Storm, I'm going to be getting, on average 10 mana worth of stuff if I've cast my commander once. And then I also am imagining that there will be some games where Katilda eats a lot of removal, because it is a much better mana dork than Rada, because if I get some humans out, it can pop off. So in those games, it can serve as kind of a really good recovery spell, where if I've been having a bad game, I play the Genesis Storm. It really does some good stuff for me. Oh, do I need to cut Torsten? Torsten is so good. That's such a good card. Yeah, because like this, I think like 80% of the deck is creatures and lands, so Torsten is basically draw 5 cards. So that's pretty good. Budget limit is excluding basic lands cannot pass $25. So we are pretty tight here. Let me see how much. I might look at how much artifact and enchantment removal I'm packing. So we got that doesn't count. 2 one-timers. Okay, so less than I would like, I think. For purposes of cutting Druid of Purification. It's so good. I can't cut it. Charming Prince is fine, but like I want to mostly avoid the one-time single target flickers. I just don't think they're what this deck is really looking for. If I optimize by printing, I'm at 26. Ooh. That okay. I mean that's getting closer for sure. This is maybe for a video. We'll see. It's for a little project. We'll see where it goes. Let me see. I don't know that I'm sold on Hornet Queen. I threw this in as kind of like a defensive card early. I just don't know if this deck needs defense a whole lot. I think I would rather just play like a board wipe or something. Flickering Hornet Queen feels like it's the yeah, we're gonna move that to maybe board for now. I mean, it's not cutting budget for sure, but I just don't think I want it. Yeah, Zach Fair is fine. I don't know if that's what this deck is looking for. What it? Because it's like one. I mean, in principle, it's not horrible with Katilda just because it can pay for its own protection cost. Yeah, I see it. I see the vision. I don't know for sure that I want it, but I definitely see the appeal there. If you have cards that somehow put cards on anyone's creatures, it can be a draw. Oh yeah, with a generous patron. The card is it's a solid card. I don't know if that's what this deck is looking for, but it is a pretty solid card. Angel Condemnation is decent. I would definitely consider it. I think I have it in my maybe board. Yeah, like it's 2 mana value. Yeah, it's fine enough. Currently, I'm running. I guess I was just saying that I'm not sure about Gilrain. Gilrain's pretty decent. I think that's like a slightly better version of Angel of Condemnation, basically. This, I guess, um, this can at least be a sort of removal spell, but I don't know if that's really what I need necessarily. Almost identical deck building challenge. All our bunch of desires. Nice. That's fun. Zyrus is. I think Zyrus is good as a athletic commander, and then the white, the green white like Doctor Who commander. That's another really good one for like a pump spells deck. That seems like a lot of fun, and I would consider building that out to have a Zyrus variant. I don't know that I need the tree shaker chimera. I think I can do better with my draw. I'm gonna toss that. Yeah, I think I got Semester's End in here. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet card. Honestly, I'm almost inclined to just cut like my higher cost flicker, like Eternal Wanderer. Um, Also, ooh, that is something I could do. I could cut Conjurer's Closet um for Woodland Bellower. Is that worth it? Maybe. I could see it. What all can Fierce Empath get? Because I think that's going to determine a lot of things here. Library with a creature code with mana value 6 or greater. I know Tree Shaker's kind of a fun card. It might make it back in. I'm not discounting it forever, but I don't know. Um, that's right. I was looking mana value 6 or greater creatures. Uh, Torsten's a good draw engine. I can grab Greenward Morass, although it's kind of the same as some other things. It can grab. It can grab a whole lot of removals. Okay, so that if I were to add the Woodland Bellower package in place of Conjurer's Closet, that could get me a whole lot of removal. I guess technically it could get me a flicker as well in the form of Pegasus Guardian. That's kind of neat. Are there any other flickers it could get me? No. The answer is no. Um, it seems okay. Uh, let's see. Are there any other like green creatures I could add? I guess mana value less than 3, 4 creature. Yeah, John Benton was the one I was thinking of. 3/3 elk might say cut the closet. Closet is very nice, but it is a bit for sure. Yeah, Conjurer's Closet. I mean, so in principle, I think my density of ETB is pretty high. Like if I look up what are my ETBs, it's like yeah, all those are ETBs. Radagast a little bit less, but still kind of. I guess Garrick's Pack Leader isn't an ETB. It's like 6. I wouldn't really consider that an ETB. 6, 8. All those are ETBs. 17. Kinda. 18. 19, 20. Yes, like a quarter of the deck is meaningfully useful ETBs for Conjurer's Closet, which I don't know. I think we might try cutting it. That I think it seems like a lot of fun to have a Woodland Bellower package in here. So I might go ahead and cut this, move it to the maybe board for now. Could see swapping back, but we'll try cutting. Let's see what we can do with Woodland Bellower. So Bellower goes in. We're gonna call that draw. Sure. I think all the options so far are value engines for being grabbed. One of my favorites, Fortune. I might add. So what I might do, I might add Fortune and Caradora. So I have kind of a more fleshed out Flicker package. Um, yeah, because Caradora is pretty sweet as a thing to Flicker. Yes, let's go ahead and add that. It's also a human, so I would play it on turn 3. I can ramp into something on turn 4 unless I'm disrupted, but you know, that's not the end of the world. And then yeah, let's throw in Fortune. I like Fortune. Fortune, I am a little worried that it won't get in for attacks. Let me see. What? It's like a 2/4 Fortune Loyal Steed. ETB, Scry 2, attacks while saddled at end of combat. It is a 2/4, so as long as somebody doesn't have like super thick blockers, it might work. I don't know. I know, yeah, I'm about to go out 3-drop hunting. What do we got? That's too many cards. That's a more manageable number of cards. Are we talking like the green Exarch that's like destroy a non-creature permanent? Cards definitely do. I could look for some of the budget tutor options. It's like Brutalizer Exarch. Yeah, Brutalizer Exarch. Creature on top of it and shuffle. How much is that? That's honestly not bad. More expensive than. Yeah, Katilda. It is a whole 50 cents. Although I think that doesn't matter too much for budget decks. I think your commander can afford to be pretty expensive if it's doing good work. Okay, so if we're looking for targets for Woodland Bellowers, it's got to be non-legendary. I guess I need to -T legendary. Non-legendary, green, 3 or less onto the battlefield. Okay. I could definitely throw in just like a. Is there like a better? I could do some version of a Rexage type thing. Calligrators is fine. Olive Blossom. Well, Blossoms probably isn't good enough. Um, let's see. Botanical Brawler. Renegade Valier and Sporkle. Yeah, Knight of Autumn was one I was thinking of as a kind of riff on. I would generally Robert Master asks, for protection in white, how do you weigh protection from color versus indestructible hexproof? I think it depends on how much you're looking for evasion, because that is the benefit of protection is you get around blockers. In most situations, for protection purposes, I'm taking the hexproof indestructible, but protection does get around blockers for sure. Still gets board wiped by probably more things than an indestructible creature would, but the getting around blockers can be pretty good. And they're also just ones that are like, I think like the one that has what is it, rebound, that one's pretty decent because you get protection immediately, and then your next turn you get a rebound. You can get protection from whatever you want to swing in on, and then just do some massive swing. Okay. Will and Battleware targets. Print Lifter Ooze. Ocean Dissident. Rift Sweeper. Oh, I did mana value less than 3. That will be my issue. Okay. Tireless Provisioner is great. I think it's like $1.91. It's such a good card. We'll consider it. This list doesn't really have enchantments, not in any meaningful numbers. I don't think it even has any at all. Yeah, Mon Valley Beast Tracker doesn't. Sure, yeah, I can explain my Scryfall things a bit. So, this is low cost creatures, mana value less than 4, type creature, color green if its color equals green, because that's going to be generally the stuff that's more useful for like a bigger flicker game plan with Woodland Bellower. Minus T legendary excludes legendary cards. Minus mana X includes cards with an X in their mana cost. Scoot Swarm. What else? I wonder if it's worth it to run a Wood Elves. Probably not. Like, I could run Wood Elves over, like, my existing ramp-ish. So, like, instead of, like, Core Cartographer, I could run Wood Elves. It's not too bad. I might consider that. I don't know how deep to go on this package. I feel like once I'm at, like, 4 or 5 cards, I think I'm good. But I do want to get up to that number. Topiary Stomper is also pretty good. How much? Yeah, 70 cents now. I don't need to pay an extra 50 cents to get a little bit of power toughness. Spring Moon Druid. Spring Moon Druid is pretty decent. I think Wood Elves is better. I usually just sort by EDH ranking on Scryfall, but that's just because that's the way my brain processes it better. I just find it easier to go to kind of be in the mindset of, oh, I need to be on the lookout for, I'm looking at good cards here. Oh, I'm looking at slightly less good cards here. I don't know. It just kind of puts me in the right frame of mind to analyze cards. Rejuvenator. Oh, that does. Ooh, ooh, oh no. Woodland Bellower makes Herrenblade Elite so much better. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's too tempting. I don't think I can actually afford it. Um, but it's a fun card. And it's obviously this card goes nuts if I can play it and something like a Reverent Hoplite or an Increasing Devotion, or drop a bunch of lands with a Maha in play. Just small things. Scattered Groves included. Scattered Grove. Yeah, Scattered Groves. I think. I figure there's got to be some things that care about forests. At least I have a couple lands to do. So like Fortified Village does. Uh, that doesn't count basic type to non-basic, so that does not work. Um, I'll definitely audit my mana base a bit more later, make sure I'm not running too many tap lands, because I am fairly tap land dense right now. I'll have to playtest a little bit, do some math. Bloodroot Apothecary. We'll throw Knight of Autumn. Claim Jumper is decent, but I don't think I really need Catch-Up Ramp here. I think I'm going to be getting ahead. Ramp. Tranquil Frillback. Is that even good? I feel like that's just worse than Knight of Autumn. Oh, it's also $2. Yeah. It's not worse than Knight of Autumn, but because the Graveyard Exile is meaningful. So my theory with Timeless Provisioner is that I want as many Eternal Witness effects as possible, which is to say I want 3, because there are 3 of those that exist. Specifically 3, at least I think Timeless Witness is, yeah, return target card. How can I? I was not aware of that. Dragging cards from Scryfall to Architect. But yeah, the idea is run a bunch of those, witness types, run, and then, currently I'm running, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of Exile any number of creatures you control, return them at the next end step, which in theory you can just kind of recycle that and, get a ton of value, lock down the board with a bunch of removal engines. Going for some gross control shenanigans here. Yeah, Carving Carriage would be a blocker. Good morning, Captain Scone. Skullwinder actually is an Ewit effect, so I guess I can consider that. It's definitely probably the least I would want one of these. Although that one is, I mean, it's grabbable with Woodland Bellower, but so is actual Ewit. So like, I don't know. We'll consider it for sure. District Guide. Yeah, these aren't really getting better. I wonder if there's is there like an actual draw engine for 3 mana or less in green? I kind of wonder. I guess there's like Augur of Autumn. Is that, how much money is that? So might be under $1. Because that would be actually a really decent grab off of, yes, 89 cents from the Duskmorn printing. I would consider that actually. That's pretty good. If you have enough grave hit, I honestly have very little grave hit right now. I should probably try and get a little bit more in, because I think I'm just running the Cave Pit of Offerings. That's my only grave hate at the moment, I believe. Unless I'm forgetting something. Let's see, do I have any? I don't think I have any grave hate in my sideboard either. Oh no, I have Titania's Command. Yeah, that might be a good add for both. It stabilizes life total, and then it either ramps or it grants spared. I think that's flexible enough. Yeah, in fact, let's just get that in there. That's a good card. We'll call it. Is it removal? I don't know. The Graveyard Excel is going to be good, I think. Thraben Charm is decent, although yeah, Thraben Charm is good grave hate. That's true. That's true. I might just look through a bit and see if I can find. Yeah, we'll throw Thraben Charm in our possibilities list. I definitely had the thought for a split second. Oh, I wish there was a board wipe that had Graveyard Exile on it. And there is, but that is not a card that will be going in the deck. Both because I hate it. If it was budget, I think for this specific deck I would run it, but I do not like Farewell in general. Yeah, Abzan Beastmaster. I respect the Beastmaster. I don't want to hate on the Beastmaster. The Beastmaster is not very good. It's not. I respect it. I appreciate it. That's right. What do we got? It's gonna be probably lands first. Yeah, Farewell Scavenger Grounds. Return to Nature would be like another Thraben Charm style card. On it, that might be better than. What's the third mode on Thraben Charm? I don't actually remember. The third mode is. Okay, yeah, that destroys an enchantment. Yeah, so that's probably a bit better than Return to Nature, actually. That's just, wait, no, that exiles a whole graveyard? Any number? Yeah, no, that's a lot better than Return to Nature. What am I talking about? Okay, what else? Endurance, $7. Grave hate, grave hate, grave hate. I love Aven Interrupter. I don't think this is the deck for it, and it's $2. Oh, where are we going? Is Fortune a bit pricey? Oh no. Okay, so it's not that Fortune. I'll throw that in the Flicker. Legolas Greenleaf. Legolas Greenleaf is fine. There's also like the one classic budget draw engine. There's like I don't remember what it's called. It's a green 4-drop, costs 2 less if your opponents have a green permanent, 2/3 with Death Touch, draws on connection to a player. It's a solid card. I think Soul of New Phyrexia is in my sideboard already. It's not graveyard tape, but Stone Speaker Crystal I don't really like. Deepwood Denizen. That's the one that like cares about +1/+1 counters, I think. That's not really what. This deck does not have enough of that. Nautiloid Ship is money, I believe. That's also money, I believe. 2 cards for graveyard. Titania. Gavany Township is $3. Yeah, Okame Adversary is what I was thinking of. That's a solid card. Like it's certainly not bad. Isn't Graveyard, isn't that 3-1 flash? Oh yeah, Kutzel's no, you're totally right. And I think somebody mentioned it earlier. That one is also ETB, so that one's likely. Um, yeah, Kutzel's flanker. I would definitely consider that one. The fact that it's a Graveyard Exile and it has other modes definitely makes it pretty solid. We'll start with Titania's Command. We got that there at least. I think that's a really sweet Graveyard Exile with the modality and the life gain there. Like being able to stabilize like that is good. I probably don't need Palaka Worm if I've added a little bit of life gain. I think I need some life gain, but not a super massive amount. And Palaka Worm's kind of a janky card. I respect it. I love the worm. The worm is great, but a little bit janky. Primal Command. Let's see. What is that? I remember one of the mode is putting a creature on top of your library or something. Okay, that's actually no, that's ooh, yeah, I'll take it. No, that looks lovely actually. Um, just fully axe the worm. I don't think there's any chance it comes back in. Yeah, Primal Command I like a lot actually. Oh, did it jump to the sideboard? Yeah, no, we want that main board. That's a good card. I'm inclined to call that interaction, but the fact that it tutors as well is really sweet. I love that. It can grab like a bunch of centerpiece creatures that it can grab that are really great. Yeah, we'll call that removal. No, not that. Sentinel of Lost Lore is 7 cents, a 3-drop, and exiles a player's whole ass graveyard. I'll have to look at that. Removal. Call that kinda draw. So it's tutoring for a good card is drawing cards. I don't think the type really matters. Sentinel of Lost Lore. Is that the 3-mana 3/4 guy? No. I mean, it is a 3-mana 3/4, but what else? Yeah, so two. These texts basically don't exist. So it's enters the battlefield, basically exile target player's graveyard. Yeah, I think that's kind of similar to Kutzel's Flanker. It is grabbable with Woodland Bellower, which I think certainly is kind of interesting to me, but I don't know. It's I don't think it's just worse than Kutzel's Flanker by a fair amount. So I don't know that I feel the need. So I'm gonna pop this in my Flicker category. Does Titania's Command fetch any lands? It does fetch any lands. That's so funny. You're right, Goldwyn. That's funny. Mist Breath Elder. It's a funny little frog guy. I don't know that is the Flicker solution I am dreaming of. Palace Jailer is decent. This is kind of a control deck, so I'm a little nervous to put it in control. It's amazing in aggro. It's amazing in any fast deck. I'm pretty sure it just... I think yeah. Like it just gets whacked. So yeah, I don't necessarily. The land tutor is Titania's command, 6 mana, to do a bunch of stuff, including search for any 2 lands, put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Which honestly, grabbing like a Windbrisk Kites, and a Mosswort Bridge is like really sick value. Actually, that's super good. More than value. Actually, it's because these are kind of like a ramp thing. Verdant Confluence. I'm here for modal. What do we got? Oh, this one. Yeah, it's a little bit less tempting to me, just because I think I'm already kind of going hard on the recursion, just because I need it for my Flicker package. So like Ewit and Timeless Witness and such like. Um, yeah, kind of Selesnya human Flicker battlecruiser thing. Uh, Outcast Trailblazer. Zatalp was just a big dumb guy. So, with my Flicker effects, I just added Woodland Bellower. I cut Conjurer's Closet for it exactly, but I'm doing kind of Woodland Bellower paired with Semester's End type effects. Actually, Ghostway is a lot more readable. Just cards that exile your creatures and then return them at end of turn. I think those go great with like Eternal Witness. They go great with, you know, any of these like recursion creatures that grab any target. Eternal Witness, Timeless Witness, Green Warden of Murasa. Um, yeah, Thales Lancers grabs all sorts of great stuff here. My mic is cutting out sometimes. Why is that? Let me know if it gets bad, and I'll investigate a little bit. Angel of Glory's Rise seems okay. See, what I know is going to happen if I run Angel of Glory's Rise is I'm going to let my commander hit the graveyard, and then I'm going to try and return it, and then I'm going to get my Angel of Glory's Rise counterspelled, and then I'm going to be sad. That's just what's going to happen. Oh, Sun Titan. Yeah, Sun Titan. How in God's name did I miss the Sun Titan? Yeah, actually, that's super good. Sun Titan. I think I just want that main board. I mean, I guess so. It does have a more limited range of grabs in this deck than in some. I might sideboard that for now, actually, because I think I have a kind of limited. It's basically just lands, and I'm running like 6 3 or less cost cards currently. I did look at Salvation Swan, and the answer is mostly no. There are like 1 or 2, but not a whole lot. Fiend Hunter and Village Bellringer. Bellower does not grab white creatures. It only grabs green creatures. Have to have some green in them. Otherwise, yes, there are some definite, bullshit white things you can do, but that's definitely not workable, unfortunately, due to the wording. Yeah, but Bellower still has a bunch of good targets. It's an awesome effect in any sort of Flicker deck, so we can still make it work. I'm inclined to cut some of the worse Flicker here. Is Pegasus Guardian not good enough? I don't know. Another round is really good. Gale Powder Mage is so good. Yeah, because this one, I can like land it on a turn, and then like the following turn I can play something to exile. I think I'm going to run off and get some water and use the bathroom, so you all better behave. Oh yeah, Fierce Empath needs to go in. All right, it looks like you all behave yourself nicely. The riot failed. I hate to tell you, but yeah, let's definitely get Fierce Empath in there for the tutor chaining shenanigans. This deck isn't running as many low cost humans as a lot of Katilda decks, so it's running like a handful of 4-drop humans, which are nice, and then it's also running a handful of like mass human generators, which are like Sigarda, Reverent Hoplite, Maha or Maja. I like Maha. That sounds spicier. And then increasing devotion is like the other one that really like gives you a big boost of humans. Sapphire is decent. I'm trying to think. So if I need the ETB creature to get in the graveyard for that to happen. So I guess that'd have to be like a board wipe, which I am running some of, and I might add one or two more of. So I could see it. Yeah, Maha Blast. That's just how that's pronounced. Any word that has AJA in it, it's gotta be. Aha. Oh no, that's true. Yeah, I'm confusing people with the like black removal engine. That's what Maha is, right? Yeah. It's this gross guy. Yeah, I'm sure this stream is at a great time for anybody in Europe. I started at like 8:30 a.m. my time just because I was up and wanted to build a deck and thought it'd be fun to have that streamed. Okay, how many cards are we at? Okay, we're 105. Am I done looking at these? Let me go through a handful more and then we'll call it good. Moan Vuli Beast Tracker. I don't think I actually have many good options for one Vuli. I always look at this card and I'm like, that looks great, but it doesn't put it into hand, and then it also, yeah, they're just not. There's just so many cards that just don't have those keywords. Um, Loran is good, although I think it's still a couple bucks, and uh, people saw me struggling with Druid of Purification earlier, and that was 90 cents. So, yeah, that's kind of where I cap out on what I'm willing to spend on removal here. The Cascade, I could see cutting. I could potentially see cutting Cascade. In principle, I like it as like a way to dig deeper into the library, but it definitely gets worse the more kind of 2-3 drop stuff I put in. Granted, it's still not a lot currently. Like it's like, you know, that much. Uh, you know, 2 non-commander 2 drops, 6 non-commander or 6 3 drops. Phalia's gotten a lot cheaper. It's like $2 at this point, but my first favorite color was black, and I think that is still my favorite color. I tend to brew in black a lot. Just a big fan of all the stuff there. Big fan of paying life to draw cards and other such things. Let's see, I might cut the Eternal Wanderer. That might just be worse than the other flicker options. Because like no more than one creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat, but there are going to be 3 combats before my turn. So, let's see. For each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player. No, that's just a good board wipe effect. Yeah, this seems good enough. It's a pretty sweet card. Woodfall Primus, I ran in Rada for a while, and I just found that the 8 mana felt a little clunky. Like, you don't want to pay 8 mana to remove one thing. Like, you compare that to something like Protector of the Wastes that exiles 2 things for 6 mana, and it's hard to justify. Same with like Angel of the Ruins, like the white options. Even Terastodon, I think I'm probably going to cut at some point here, just because I don't really love. Yeah, I can see cutting the Cascade. I'm not particularly. I think I probably like Natural Wreck. I found a lot of success with that, and I like having that as an instant speed play. Um, but I think something like an Enlisted Worm or an Annoyed Altasaur is definitely maybe a little more mid, not necessarily all that good. So I could definitely see cutting this. This deck is definitely doing something kind of fundamentally different than what the Rata deck is doing. Like it would still be nice to hit like my ramp off of it. I don't know. I feel like I need to playtest this deck a bit to get an idea of what's going on with it. I know we're at 28-22. That's not too bad. Need to cut out a little bit of value. Eternal Wonder is your Bethel on theme board wipe. Yeah, Eternal Wonder is great. Some card draw or something. Endray's Forerunners is solid. Yeah, I don't really have. Most of my flicker isn't. Most of my flicker is not the sort of flicker that works with Endray's Forerunners. Like I think almost all of my flicker is exile returned at end of turn, and that's not all that great with Endray's. In theory, well, so the way I think about it is Natural Reclamation gets better the more I have to play at instant speed because I have options. If I can choose between Natural Wrecking at instant speed or Semester's ending at instant speed, that's a good choice to be able to make. So I think broadly, I like Natural Wreck in this deck. I think the Dino and the Worm I could go either way on. Sweet Gum Recluse I've just had a lot of success with. That one's also Flash, so that one is definitely staying as well. But these top two I think are very much cuttable. To different. I don't think I like Duplicant or Terrastodon a whole lot, honestly. Let me look at what I had. I threw a bunch of stuff in here. So it was like, yeah, Duplicant's cheap. Highcliff Felidar is really good creature removal, but that's $2. Kogla is great, but that's crept up to $1.50. So probably a no-go. Honestly, I think I'd probably do Meteor Golem before Duplicant, but I don't like either all that much. It just seems kind of clunky. Which is Resolute. I could see adding Resolute back in. That's a really good card. That's a really good card. Oof. I don't think I'm instant speed enough for Wilderness Wreck. Yes, I do have Parting Gust. Links in chat. As long as it doesn't get like clogged up with everybody trading deck lists, then that's fine. Also don't like send some sketchy virus bullshit. I also don't know if I need to enable links in chat somewhere. I probably just won't bother. Resolute Archangel seems really good for like a slower deck. So I might try and crowbar that back in. That seems quite good. Toss that in. Stabilization. Is there more payoff? There's some payoff. So I've actually looked recently, but there's a decent. I tried to put in a decent number of like 4-drop humans. I didn't realize both witnesses were humans. That's pretty good. So there's like this one might be cuttable. Honestly, this is I'm questioning that a little. But there's like there's a bunch of 4-cost humans which kind of let you go a little bit flexible on your ramp, and then there are a couple really big human generators, specifically Sigarda, Reverent Hoplite, Maha, and Increasing Devotion all can churn out a lot of humans. I'm inclined to get rid of these cascade things. Throw that into the assorted bucket. So this deck is mostly higher cost stuff, so I'm probably not looking for bounce. I think that's just gonna really like be kind of a self-defeating type of card. The curve out with Rip is pretty sweet. Yeah, any number of different creatures or vehicle cards. Running like 40 creatures. On average, you get 1 to 2. Let's say 1. On average, you get 1 creature off of Rip. That's fine. That's okay. It's fine. I don't know. I could go either way on Rip. It's only 14 cents, so I'm not feeling particularly inclined to cut it right now, but could be cut. Okay, what else do we got going right now? I almost kind of want to cut the things that find only creatures. Wily Duke is another one that I considered. I don't know. It's an okay draw engine. It's not terrible. But it needs the commander in order to draw cards. Yeah, I'm running Mangara currently. It's definitely one of those cards that like is just expensive enough that I consider cutting it, but then I go back and read the text and I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be drawing a lot of cards. I need that. Honestly, I might be more inclined to cut Radagast just because it cannot find my flicker, and that kind of hurts. I think I really want to be able to find like a Lae'zel's Acrobatics or something. I think that like immediately turbocharges my game plan. I'm probably shooting for a low bracket 3 here. It's kind of hard to shoot higher than that with a $25 deck, unless you like really hone in on like a combo commander or something. Yeah, I'm gonna cut Radagast. I don't feel like that's gonna be doing enough. I'm sorry, Radagast is not terrible. Radagast is a lovely card. I simply don't know if I want it in this instance. Yeah, Garrick's Uprising actually. For a while I thought that was expensive, but I think that one's actually gotten a lot cheaper, so I threw it in my maybe board. Yeah, that's probably a better draw engine. Let me double check my powers. Power greater than 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, less than I would expect, I think. Yeah, because that's like excluding the vehicle, that's like 17, 18 total. I don't know. I don't know that I'm sold. I think more draw is going to be good though, so I should keep an eye out for that for sure. Roll Fire Cruel Claw. Yeah, for sure. Tadeus. What does Tadeus do? Right. Um, hmm. Yeah, so it's like a Grazalax basically in green white. Also a human. I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, 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 yeah. We'll throw them maybe board, and then but yeah, that seems pretty decent. Perhelion is another finisher. I don't think. I don't think I need a Parhelion here. I'm honestly debating if I even need the Zatalpa, but it's also just such a good blocker that I think that kind of makes it worthwhile for me. Um, I definitely threw together a $25 Winota deck a little while back, and it was disgusting. Like if the commander gets removed on turn 4, you're in trouble, but like they need instant speed removal for that, and then if you get a swing in with like 3 non-creature dudes, it just starts going out of control really really fast. It's hilarious. Zatalpa is yeah, Zatalpa's just a big guy. Uh, I've seen it in action. It's pretty good. It just kind of whacks people really hard and blocks well. But yeah, I could go either way on it. I'm also thinking of pumping up the board wipe count in this deck if I can find a bunch of cheap white board wipes. Um, and actually, I already know I want Cleansing Nova. Oh, is there cheaper printing? Cleansing Nova. Midnight Hunt. 44 cents. That's looking better. Removal. Rona Herlo. Outcast Trailblazer. Yeah, Outcast Trailblazer is a pretty decent card. How much is that these days? Yeah. For 92 cents, it's a little hard to justify. Evra. Evra's the life swap one, isn't it? That's a different sort of card. Very funny card, but Oh yeah, Project Guardian is going to be out of budget. That's like a $10 card still. Catastrophe. Catastrophe sounds like something that is destroying lands, but I don't actually know if it is. Catastrophe. Probably thinking of Cataclysm. Nope, that is destroying lands. Yeah, well, I'm not going to be picking the former option if this is a big mana deck. I still need to playtest this deck a bit and figure out how often it curves out the way I want it to. Yeah, Urza Silex is also not quite what I'm looking for. Split Up. Split Up is really good, yeah. Yeah, I do need board wipes to be pretty cheap because I'm spending pretty big in some other areas, specifically Woodland Bellower, Draw, and Flicker. That's going to be eating up most of my budget, so I think I need everything else to be like really cheap. In fact, I should probably real quick audit my ramp and make sure there's nothing too pricey here. Primeval Herald. Oh, there's not a cheaper printing of that, I don't think. Like, because the original printing was worth like $3 at some point. I'm guessing it probably still $1.50 or something. Oh, that is a little cheaper. Okay. Is it? I don't actually remember how much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go Jumpstart 2022. I'm gonna be. I need to cut back down to. I need to cut 4 cards and then I'll try some test hands because I do want to give a good round of testing to this. I do need to know the fundamentals of the deck work, basically. Crouching Dragonstorm, Circuitous Root. Is there a cheaper printing of Circuitous Root? Divine Reckoning. Is that the one that exiles non-token creatures? Yeah, it doesn't really do it for me. Battle of the Bywater keeps Ewits. Interesting. Oh, that right. Yeah. Some throwback Innistrad nonsense. Yeah, I think this very frequently is going to be missing what you wanted to kill with your word wipe. So that is not something that's tempting me unless I have like exactly one creature I care about. I think I did. I cut the two sorcery speed cascaders. I personally like Sweet Gum Recluse and Natural Reclamation good enough to keep them in. I think they're just pretty decent in a somewhat slower, more controlling deck. Expel the Interlopers is really good. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be all that great in this deck, but like it's a it's looking pretty cheap, so I might just toss it in. Although I guess the alternatives would be like Route for like an instant speed board wipe. That means if I'm at like 11 mana, I can do like a uh, Lae'zel's Acrobatics, then board wipe on somebody else's turn, which is kind of fun. Yeah, 2781. Yeah, so I'll see if I can cut. Eternal Wonder's good. Let's go price. We'll see if we can cut some pricier stuff. Yeah. Ewit. Let me see if there's a cheaper printing of Ewit. I Yeah, I can do price optimizing later. This is not something to worry about. Okay, Torsten, founder of Benalia. So the one thing I don't like about Torsten is that he does not find um like instants and sorceries. That's not my favorite thing, but the card's really good otherwise, so I find it a little hard to cut. Gold and Argosy. I like this card okay. No, I like this card more than okay. This is a pretty good card. Because it is when it attacks, so you don't even need to hit combat damage. Beans is definitely something I'm considering cutting just because yeah, there is a lot of payoff for it. Like if I look at where I'm at right now with mana values, uh it's like 30 basically. 30 on the nose, which it's a fair amount. Uh Vangara, yeah, Eternal Witness, Druid of Purification. Starfall Invocation is actually pretty good. It is 67 cents. Althros. Yeah, the Golden Argosy, yes. Yes, this is a Katilda deck. It is I, the Salubrious Snail. Yeah. Let me just find some real quick cuts. I'll worry about budget later. I just need to know if the fundamental idea of the deck pans out. Okay, so I could probably cut a little bit of Flicker. Uh, did I have payoffs for like Pegasus Guardian? Uh, yeah, I actually kind of did. Fierce Empath grabs Pegasus Guardian, so I think that's good enough justification. Partagus is just good. I don't know if I'm sold on my current Caradora package. Like I got Mysterious Limousine. I got Golden Argosy. Is this card even good? Okay, when it enters, it exiles a thing until it leaves. Enters or attacks. That just seems really slow. I don't know. This deck was inspired by I want to build a $25 deck for reasons, and I figured I would try. I would try out a Rada riff. I didn't want to literally just build $25 Rada because that feels boring. But I do want to try out some version of a $25 Rada style deck. Yeah, Carador is good. The issue with Carador is that the only things I want to grab are Fortune and Golden Argosy. Let me do a quick search through. First of all, let me see what must be done. Somebody mentioned that. Choose one. Yeah. How much is Realm Cloaked Giant these days? If it's cheap, I would go with it. Yeah, no, that seems fair enough. I will put my maybe board and probably add it. A future vid, maybe. Yes, indeed. Oh yeah, I was gonna check out vehicles real quick to see. T vehicle color identity less than or equal to green white. Give me the EDH rec rankings. I guess there's not gonna be a whole lot that's that appealing here. Yeah, that's not. Weatherlight is okay draw. It does also if I go a little bit harder on board wipes, I think it becomes decent. How many legendaries do I have? We're rocking like I'm just gonna throw Zatalpa in the maybe board right now. I don't let's just get that out of here for now because I want 8 mana cards to do a lot. Okay, so with that, we've got 12 legendaries. Yeah, I don't think Weatherlight's gonna be doing it. Okay, that is Carador is where Parhelion does become more tempting. So I'm starting to respect that suggestion more. So this is going to be, I think, a slower, more controlling deck. So I think Resolute Archangel does become pretty good. Whether it's worth $1.07 is definitely a question. I think I also had something like I had some other version of it, like some giant or other. Some ETBs, I think. Yeah, I had Arbiter of Norwich, which that would be like an alternative angel, basically. I could see it. Archon of Valor's Reach, I could see that being a little bit weaker in this deck than in some. I think it makes a really good top end card for a Hate Bears deck. But I don't think this deck is trying to do quite the same thing. I think it's more looking for like a removal engine rather than like stacks. So I'm inclined to cut this for now. Cut the green and add red instead. Yeah, let's get that out of there. Okay, going back down this list. Sika's Chariot is a card that I don't think actually does a whole lot in this deck. Regalia, yeah, is that, wait, that one's pretty decent, right? I don't think it's turn 3 ramp, notably, but it is ramp. Yeah, so it does need a crew 1, so if you tap out the commander turn 3, you cannot crew it. But if I'm looking for vehicles, I think that one still is pretty solid. Let me just throw that. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, that probably won't make it in. Okay, never mind. Maybe later. Oh, I know. Yeah, I am looking forward to. I'm definitely gonna try and build an Asika deck because I've been messing around with various token copy decks recently, uh, and that card is a lot of fun with those. Oh, I see. Yeah, somebody mentioned Lumbering World Wagon. Um, I think I like that pretty well actually. Better than the Regalia. So, and that is actually a turn 3 ramp. It's crew 4, but I got some chunky guys in this deck, so I think that should be fine. Yeah, that was one of the. No, not that. Colossal Plow. What is that? Vehicle-based ramp. Well, if it's a white ramp, I'm kind of worried it's catch-up ramp, which is not necessarily what this deck is looking for. Thunderous Velocipede. Let me just look up Colossal Plow because I don't think I'm seeing anything else here that's striking my eye. Colossal Plow. I see. Ooh, crew 6. Oh, wow. That is a juicy crew number. Wow. It does add 3 white. Um, yeah, that's interesting. Seems a little bit challenging. What's the other one? Guardian Sunmare. Guardian Sunmare is an actual consideration here, I think. Because there are oh, wait, it's not land permanent. Ooh. No, but it is searching my library, so that works fine. I kind of like that. Yeah, I need to go through other mounts now. Um, I like Bulwark Ox in principle, but I don't think this is a Bulwark Ox deck. I don't think District Mascot does much. Humblewag also doesn't do much. Yeah. Yeah, I think Guardian Sunmare is like the one card that's actually interesting here. Yep. Okay. Yes, I mean they're definitely. I think there are probably enough options to make a Tutor Package work out. Okay, but let's cut some stuff. Uh, Probably more expensive stuff. Do I need Ghostway? Ghostway is really good. So let's axe the limousine. I don't really use O-tags. Sometimes I'll remember they exist and start using them, but I have frequently found that they're incomplete or not quite what I'm looking for. So I've just gotten kind of good at using basic Scryfall. I don't know that I'm feeling fortune, honestly. Yeah, let's cut fortune and then let's, which I makes the Tutor package look pretty garbage right now. I'll cut Baird instead. Actually, Baird doesn't do much. Seraphic Steed isn't terrible, but like, it's just a beater. Blade Gift Prototype is a card I could put in. Honestly, that's a card that's a good candidate for my Rata deck, actually, because that is not in good removal colors. Okay. Let's see. Turn 3 acceleration is... Yeah, I guess some amount of that. Honestly, we might be low on turn 3 acceleration, although there are a fair amount of alternate turn 4 or like 2, 3, 4 drop plays, so I think it could work. Okay. That's good enough. Yeah, we keep that. Temple Plenty. What do we got on top? Lovely. Keep it there. Play Katilda. We play a Ranger's Path. Searching up the dual forests, I think. Play tapped. Do I have another dual forest? Yeah, I think I have the... Yeah, it's that one too. That one the cycle, the bicycle land probably gets cut, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, so we're at this point. Could play the Maja to start to build up a board of humans. I kind of want to do that. Present a threat, hold the Windbrisk Heights. So we got that. We got Windbrisk Heights. Gets us a human. I need to clear out my sideboard so I have less bullshit here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that's a full whiff. Is it play? Yeah, play. Yeah, I'll take the Volatile Fault, I guess. I'm just going to put that there. Okay. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that Maha doesn't get removed. Okay, so now that's Golden Argosy. So suddenly that sets up like a sick Angel of the Ruins, Timeless Witness play. Yes, we play Golden Argosy. We play Vastwood Surge, getting a couple more lands. That's going to get us 3 more humans total for this turn, which is pretty good. Play card. Play card. Yeah, that's... And then we have a ton of mana next turn. We do some gross stuff with that. That's not bad. Let's see. Okay, so this is where... Okay, no, this actually works out pretty well. Maha Blast, yeah. This hand is actually kind of sick, I think. Yes, we Mosswar, we turn 1. Mosswar, we grab, something. Sunblast Angel. Ghostway is definitely what we get here. Ghostway, I think, just goes crazy in this deck. Yeah, we do got that Argosy. Untap. Play the commander. Untap. Play the village. Play... What are we doing first here? I think we need to build up mana initially. So we'll Dragonstorm. Next turn, we have... Yeah, I think we just have to play the Beanstalk plus, I think, like a... Could go Beanstalk plus Argosy. Yeah, I think that's the move. And then suddenly we can flicker next turn. Play a land for turn. Draw a card off of Beanstalk. Next turn, we have Solemn plus Argosy to get a little bit of more ramp. This was like a little bit slower of a rollout, but I think it turns out okay. Like, we just have a lot of grind here. If my commander gets removed, this puts out 3 things after I recast her. The Beanstalk can potentially get some draws. I think this is pretty solid. Yeah, Maha's quite good. Let's try another. Yeah, it's okay. I am building a new brewing out trying out a $25 kind of riff on my Rata deck for purposes for a potential video. I don't know whether this is gonna end up working out the way I like, but I figure it's worth trying. Tractor Sad Robot. Oh no, I am a Sad Robot defender. Everybody else in the world hates Sad Robot, but I will defend Sad Robot. I can see mulling this, yeah. Yes, we do that. We get Robot out. We grab a... Yeah, this hand didn't... I mean, we get Increasing Devotion out, which is nice because they basically have to remove the humans, because removing Katilda doesn't really do anything. So I think that ends up feeling pretty good. If they remove Katilda, we get to do a sick Genesis Storm play. Yeah, it's still a bit over budget right now. It's not it needs to be cut down a little, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, some good plays there. Yeah, that's pretty solid. We got the ramp, we got the lands. Might even play Mangara turn 3, honestly, because that just starts grinding card advantage really well. Draw a tap land turn 2, of course. Tilda. Yeah, so we'll play Mangara. Let's see. If I get a 11 to 15, I get 1 card. If I get a 16 to 20, I get 2 cards. That's a 9. I don't get cards. Alright, play a tap land, Encroaching Dragonstorm. Actually, I could play... I don't really have a 6-drop, really. The Emperor of Palamacia. I'm not familiar with that. Play that, get a couple things. Yeah, this game is definitely a little bit... This very much depends on Mangara to get us going here. Yeah, it's fine enough. Yeah, this game is not ideal. Surveyor getting Ursus gave her Pit of Offerings or even Second Citadel is so good. Yeah, I don't have... Yeah, Wayfarer's Bauble is good. I like it. I think it depends a little bit. Like, if you're running a whole bunch of colors, it's going to be less common. Or I guess it depends on the number of tap lands you have. If you have a lot of tap lands, you're going to be paying effectively 3 mana for the card, which is awkward. But if you can play it on turn 1 a fair amount, or like weave it into your mana curve somewhere for the 1 mana, and then have it can kind of feel like a rampant growth, which is the ideal situation, obviously. Yeah, we do not keep that on the first go round. Yeah, what is this Emperor card? The Emperor of Palamacia. Palamicia. What do we got? Oh yeah. Cast a non-creature spell if at least 4 minutes. Transform it. Ooh, what's the backside? That's kind of sick, actually. That seems like a lot of fun. Because that backside bombs people pretty hard. I like the Dragonstorm enchantments generally. I mean, I think the red one's kind of... What is the red Dragonstorm? It's like a like creative technique type thing. It's a card from top of the library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. This one's just... like, this isn't even not what the deck wants. The card is just not very good, is my issue with it. Like, if it was 4 mana, I would like it. But it is 5 mana, which is not the right amount of mana. Encroaching Dragonstorm is lovely. I am happy to run that always. Okay, this was my opening hand. This is not a keep the first time around. Maybe not even the second time around. We'll mulligan. That is also a mulligan. Down to 6. It's got a hidden nursery. We can try and grind a little bit of value. It's not too bad. Wait. Oh well. Yeah, so we're drawing more and more ramp, which honestly I found in this style of deck that's not the end of the world, because you can just kind of chain a bunch of ramp. Do I have a cave I want right now? I don't think so. Coaching Dragonstorm, we'll get some play card, play card. Maybe play a tapped hidden nursery. Tap 4 for another Fastwood Surge. And then hope we draw something is roughly how this goes. Do I not... Have I not upgraded my Rata list with the Green Dragonstorm? It is in my paper deck. I promise you that. I have all these decks. Is it Explosive Dragonstorm? What is it? Encroaching Dragonstorm. Yeah, I forgot to add it. What did I end up cutting for it? It was like is it Path? Map the Frontier? Something like that. I think it was this one actually. I should double check if there's anything else I'm missing from this list at some point. I'm working on a Katilda kind of Rata variant. I was just doing a little bit of play testing. I need to see if I draw garbage or not. Play card. Play card. How are we looking? What's our draw? That's pretty bad. Okay, so we're kind of running out of cards. What happens if I flip the nursery? Does that hit something maybe? Hits Path of the Animist. It's one of those classic games where I draw nothing but ramp. Honestly, not the worst thing that could happen. I would rather draw nothing but ramp than miss land drops. Honest to God. It works out better in the long term. I think this is a fine opening hand, honestly. Like, I need to draw payoff. I might see if I need to add more ETB cards, because I obviously have the payoff. I'm drawing the payoff just fine. Oh yeah, I saw the new explosive vegetation. I think at this point I really don't need any more. Like, I've kind of gotten enough. There's a lot of versions of explosive veg. I'm already kind of playing the good ones. Play card. Play card. Kind of flooding a little bit. Maybe we'll keep up the white interaction. Play tap land. That's fine. Yeah, I mean I think it depends. So if you have bursty card draw that starts generating a lot of value for you, flooding can allow you to catch back up super hard later, especially if you're flooding in both ramp and lands. Lands plus ramp, drawing nothing but that for a while, the table's not going to be looking at you too hard, and you're going to have a ton of mana for when you eventually do find some stuff. You just need to have the draw in there to find it eventually. Yeah, this is kind of going rough. I need to try one more game, but it seems like I might need more just smoothing draw type stuff. This is a nice deck. This is a nice hand. I guess we'll go Wind Brisk. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, it's a lot of lands. Put that in exile. Move to bottom of library. It also depends on your mana curve a lot, because if you have a high mana curve, hitting a ton of lands and ramp can feel a lot better, because all you need to do is draw like a handful of like high cost cards, and then suddenly it feels like you're playing Magic again. Okay, see here we're drawing some of our good stuff. Invasion of Zendikar on somebody. Grab a couple lands. This is very similar to my Errata deck. This is not very, very similar. Like, I think the end game plan is very different. It's running a lot less Cascade, a lot more Flicker, but it is kind of structurally choosing the same path in terms of resource gaining. So I don't have a specific win con in mind. I might test a little bit. Ooh, it's a fat wasp in my room. It's like a unique type of wasp. One of those guys with the strange and spindly appendages. Okay, what am I doing here? Yeah, that's right. I'm playing my Sweet Gum Recluse. And then hope we hit something good. Druid of Purification, sure. Is using Katilda as the 2-mana dork, although there is a lot more utility here for Katilda than the Errata deck has for Errata. Like, there are a bunch of kind of human generators, and what I like about that is that even if Katilda gets knocked out, if you just generate a bunch of humans, like, pay Katilda for 4, even play Katilda for 6, if you just have a bunch of humans, then you can just kind of make back up that mana. Stay over there. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I got Druid Purification. Okay, that was that game. So I've thought about kind of making Verada variants. I don't think green black actually has a dork in it, but the other color combos definitely do. I don't know. It's an option, but I like the deck a lot, so I find it fun brewing them. But I really only need one of them in my actual deck. I know, yeah. Hornet Queen coming for revenge. Yeah, so I think I just need more kind of smoothing-ish draw. I do have some number. I mean, I do have some number of tutors. I'm just not finding them currently. Like I think tutors wise, I've got. Wow, we're not loading. Okay, there we go. Categories singular. Tutors wise, I think I have a fair amount. Like I've got Fierce Empath and Woodland Bellower, which can both find each other. I've got, where was it? Primal Command, which that finds a thing. I think in principle I have enough draw. Maybe I'm just not finding it. Oh yeah, this Belby. Belby's fascinating. Yeah, the Kellen version seems kind of fun. Um, yeah, I think this is looking decent. I've definitely built up the value engines here a lot. Like there are just so many bullshit flicker nonsense engines. I think we need probably a couple more pieces of like more generic draw. So I might see if I can cram in something like a Garrick's Uprising, a Lenore, uh, maybe a Tadeus. I think there's some good options here, but I'm feeling pretty good about this in general. Things are looking pretty good. Oh yeah, Erixmathes you can do things with. Actually, I did something similar with Goreclaw in the sense that I ran a ton of 2 mana ramp. Not a ton, like 15 pieces. Honestly, it was a surprisingly low number, but it worked out. And then just the rest of the deck was a whole lot of like 4 or 5 6 mana creatures just to like start dumping out. And that was fun, but it was so fragile compared to Rata. Um, inverting the curve is so much more impactful than you would think. Like the fact that explosive edge gets 2 lands, having your like core ramp card get 2 lands rather than one is just such a huge difference. Um, if it doesn't even feel bad to flood out on the ramping 2 cards just because you just start to build up such a stupid high. Yeah, that died if we got board wipe. Yeah. I think a fair amount of it was creature based ramp, but I think even if you manage to like fit in as many like rocks or like rampant growth effects as possible, I think you would still have trouble just because uh, just drawing rocks feels bad. Drawing explosive vegetation doesn't really feel bad, but drawing rocks does not feel good. Phyrexian Portal. Is there a card called Phyrexian Portal? There is a card. If your library has 10 or more cards in it, target opponent looks at the top 10 cards of your library and separates them to 2 face down piles. Exile. Switch the other pile for a card. That is a strange card. It's really funny though. That's a really, really funny card. I don't think it's what I'm looking for, but it is a really funny card. Yeah, Simic, I think I'd probably do just Kellen. I would probably do Kellen, run the companion. You'd probably have to run a couple extra lands, like 40. I'd probably go 43 or 44, maybe some utility lands in there, just because Kellen requires having an extra land to put into play, so you want to be safe. Um, but the fact that you have card draw in the command zone means that I think you can really afford, not card draw in the command zone, card draw in the companion zone means that I think you can afford to run a little bit more lands. Yes, currently my only 3 color deck is Shroom. Um, I should build some more 3 color decks. They have some appeal to them, but yes, that is currently the case. Uh, let's scoot over to this Imscar deck. I feel pretty good about the green white one, I think. That one's pretty solid. This one is, I don't think, on my profile, but I can definitely link it in the description. Yeah, the VOD will be up. Actually, let me... Current deck list. There we go. Yeah, so this is one that I think is in a lot more of a hammered out state. It's kind of a fast Imscar deck. Uh, I spent so long figuring out how to fit Luminor Saras into the budget because it's so good. It's so good in Imscar. You like drop it on 3. Some games you can get Imscar on 4 and then sacrifice it immediately. Get 8 black. It's crazy. But yeah, this is kind of an aggressive riff on Imscar. You can definitely do like a more grindy thing with like a bunch of high cost artifacts. Yeah, Spine of Ishsaw definitely is a pretty wild one. This deck I don't think has the mana production for that. Maybe it does. I don't know. But yeah, Imscar is a lot of fun. Uh, I probably need to look at the removal suite just to make sure I'm able to hit permanent types. I have 1, 2, 3. Currently, is it 3 ways to remove artifacts? 1 way to remove enchantments, I think. Chisgori is so good. Slowbad does something similar, but this deck is not running that many high cost artifacts. It is a much more it is a fairly low curved Imscar deck. First ability dominant, I would say. So we are looking to draw a lot of cards off of an early Imscar play and leverage that into kind of a good beatdown game plan. Experimental Synthesize, I looked at that and I have been destroyed by that card in Pauper, but I don't think it actually does anything at all in this deck. Um, yeah. If the token was an artifact, maybe, but I don't think so. It's a great card though. I'm glad. Honestly, I think the budget deck building is a lot of fun. Oh no, the budget crept up. It definitely gives you the chance to flex some muscles that you wouldn't normally get to flex. Uh, like just like needing to evaluate every single card. Like, oh god, 96 cents? Can I afford 96 cents? Dear God, that's so expensive. Am I still running Scrap Crawler? I think I cut Scrap Crawler from this deck. Yeah. No, I can't decide if I want it or not. Like it's a fine card. Um, it goes really good if I start doing some sort of like kind of aristocracy sacrifice thing, but I don't know if that's actually what I'm doing. Uh, One card, Phyrexian Portal goes in this one. We have Phyrexian Portal's greatest soldier here advocating. One thing I'm kind of wondering is whether Nim Shrieker is good enough. Because flying makes it, I think, better than the rest of the Nim. Uh, like if I can get like 6 or 8 artifacts, that's hitting pretty hard. But I don't know. It's still kind of a janky nonsense. I also don't know how much ping there is. I don't know how much ping to expect to be facing. So I could see this going kind of badly if there's ping. Sahili's Lattice. I remember it's a 2-mana artifact that does something. Yeah, discard a card, draw 2 cards. Yeah, if I were to kind of push harder into discard themes, I think this would be pretty decent. Still might be good enough as things stand. The Strafe is just so good. Like, first of all, he triggers on life lost by me, so any land that deals damage to me, he triggers. If I play Imscar in the same turn, he triggers. Um, and then just like up to 4 blood tokens a turn is just so much. Like that's a crazy amount of value. Yeah, Demonic Junker's great. I have that in here, and it's so good. I'm honestly surprised this card doesn't cost more. I feel like this is a staple in so many decks. Like, just an amazing card. Um, but no, yeah, I definitely have 70 cents. I think is worth it for blood money. Bottle Cap Blast is also quite good. I I don't know if I'm running too much graveyard hate right now. I want to run Rakdos Charm, but it's more sense than I want to put into a removal spell, I think. Yeah. If I were to cut a little bit of value from this deck. Yeah, these are my pricey cards, which I think, yeah, all of these are so good. Um, Refurbished is here. I had it somewhere. Like I don't think I put it in the interaction. Actually, I think I put it in the. Yeah, there it is. See, I keep looking at Oni Cult Anvil and it just doesn't seem good. I think it's probably good in like a more aristocratsy deck. I could definitely see it being good there. I actually have 3 of the 1-drop artifacts that exile graveyards, the cheaper ones. Uh, I, Artifact lands I'm so divided on because in principle they're really good with an affinity commander, but also 60 cents is a little rough. Yeah, sure. Strafon. Yeah, we don't care about the second line of text there. The first line of text is just really good for getting a bunch of blood tokens every turn. Um, yeah, blood money. Yeah, all these slightly pricier cards. Condor, yeah, Condor is funny. I kind of went back and forth on that. Earthbound Condor is the, where is it? Oh yeah, it's right here. It's the 4 mana flying modular 3 artifact to enter target creature opponent controls gets minus 1 until end of turn. I think the fact that it's flying has a decent body, and then I think that should be able to ping like a lot of stuff. Like if I can play like 2 or 3 artifacts a turn, and some turns I will be playing more because this is kind of a very token heavy deck. Um, yeah, I am. I do. Yeah, I do have morbid curiosity, I believe. Um, I want to have imposing grandeur as well, but I just think it's probably worse than just about any other card I can add for a buck 27. Um, I actually cut the Brothers War, which is like kind of a assorted value card, and imposing grandeur, which is draw equal to the commander's mana value and then discard or other order. I cut those 2 for Illuminor Ceres, which is one of the ones that can sack a creature to gain an amount of black equal to the creature's mana value. I think that's worth it. Like Ceres definitely just dies in some cases. Like if the opponents are smart and have removal ready, but if it does survive, it's so crazy. Sorry, I have a cat here who wants attention. Hey, buddy, you want to say hi? Okay. Yeah, Deadly Dispute is one I've been kind of debating. That's definitely a pretty good one. Uh, yeah. Yep. We got We got Arabo in the flesh here. Let me see if there were maybe board cards I wanted. I think so. This card. Have any of you played with this card, the Nipton Lottery? Because this is one that like, it's a very cheap board wipe in black red, which makes it tempting. Uh, Very cheap 4 mana board wipe. I think is pretty tempting, but I don't know how big that downside is. I think in principle this deck is a little bit more aggressive than most, so I think it's okay. But I'm definitely debating whether or not this card is worth it. Dargo seems pretty decent here too. Dargo, see, but that's the, yeah. This deck doesn't actually sacrifice that many artifacts for having an artifact sack commander. Like it has some. It has some amount. Like I could do the math, but I I actually don't know how much this deck is going to struggle with life. I've put in a little bit of life gain. Like I've put in Poet's Quill. Have I put in anything else? Yeah, I put in like at least one more. Yeah, Mask of Grizzlebrand, that's right. So I put in a couple options for life gain. Um, so I think that's enough, but I really don't know because this deck definitely is very much a life paying deck. Deadly Cover Up. What are you doing, bud? Huh? You want to go find that wasp for me? A Deadly Cover Up. Draw creature if evidence was collected. Exile card from opponent's graveyard. Then search opponent's library. Seems fine. Um, Seems more aimed at 60 card formats, I think. True, Massacre Girl does exist. Yeah, I know there. I was hoping for a better collect evidence thing. I know that that's probably aimed at the 60 card formats. Um, Massacre Girl is okay. Yeah, I probably have enough tokens to enable the Massacre. Maybe I don't actually know. Um, but yeah, I might at least try out the Nipton lottery and see how that goes because I think that should be kind of fun. Um, and then my other board wipes are great. I love Teresiaris Devastation, and I love Blood Money in this deck. It's so gross. You just Blood Money, play out Imscar, start popping off. But yeah, I enjoy the Massacre Girl. I remember Massacre Girl was a staple in the first $25 pool. Um, just because like what's usually a board wipe on a 4/4 menace stick is just like really solid. Just a great card. How much is this Massacre Girl these days? $5? Okay. Yeah. Cover up can just be a graveyard exile for sure. Just nail it something. Um, yeah. I just like the 4 mana here, honestly. I'll probably try it out. Um, I wonder if there's any other options for life gain in black red. Because that is an area where I'm a little worried. I think there are. Uh, there's some like Leech Gauntlet that I had considered. There's also like Batterbone, which I think is also decent. As just like a, you know, kind of blocker guy that can turn into a lifelink. Massacre Worm is definitely good, yeah. A little bit of a different function though. With Verbos. Yeah, Whip of Erebos would be good if I had more budget. I would love something like that. But that one I think is it that one has stayed expensive for so long. Like I underestimated how good. Yes, it's $7. I guess it saw a pre-con printing, so it's at least gone down a little bit. But yeah, no, giving your whole board life link in black is very good. And then wow, that's the second ability is just also good, um, which makes it for a pretty good package. All board wipes is a bracket 2 EDH. Bracket 1 deck. My theme is board wipes. Have fun, gamers. Nighthawk Scavenger is definitely decent. I run that in my Malfagor deck actually because that deck is also fairly hungry for life gain. Um, but I think that deck is also a lot more amenable to generic. Um, Here, I would probably prefer to run. God, the equip 5 on Batterbone sucks. I hate that. That's such a large number. Um, yeah, Poet's Quill is just the best budget lifelink equipment by a long shot, I think. Golem's Heart. Yeah, what is the text on Golem's Heart? I think it's when you cast an artifact spell. Whenever a player casts an artifact spell, you make. How much life is that going to be gaining? I could see that being pretty good. I could see that being pretty good, yeah. Actually, though. I feel a little weird running pure life gain cards, but I mean, let's be honest. Poet's Quill is basically a pure life gain card. I'm gonna toss that in the maybe board for now. Decide a little later if I actually want it. You can discard for a... Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's see what the rate looks like on that. Because if I recall, it's cycling, right? There's that one. I guess I don't even know if that's the original text. No, it's not the original text. That is the alchemy text. Okay. Oh, right. Carsey Revenant. Carsey Revenant's decent. If I had... I'll have to see how heavy my discard package is. Because if I have a heavy discard package, I think Carsey Revenant becomes really decent. Is it still... it shouldn't be money. No, maybe it is. Damn. No, that's fair. That's a good card. Yeah, Carsey is lovely, lovely, lovely in my Malfagor deck. Honestly, I feel like bracket after the 3-hour bracket 2 game I had in Vegas, I think bracket 2 needs to not have a whole lot of board wipes or like not have some number of stalling things because wow, that can go long. Unbreakable Bond is kind of funny. Metamorphosis Fanatic is kind of funny. Lifelink Counter on Notch. Yeah. None of these are all that great. I guess Alchemist's Assistant is a cheaper version of the Carsey Revenant type effect, but I still don't think that's all that good unless I have a lot of discard. So if I go discard, I can try Blood after this, because blood is way of discarding. Discard. Not really, not real. No, yes. That's 2 of those plus the quill, 3 blood, 7 ways of discarding total, I would say. So yeah, it's a little awkward. If I get more discarded here, I think it becomes pretty decent, but Yeah. True. Yeah, I can just play it. This deck does try to curve out pretty aggressively, but it should have extra mana on like turn 5 usually. Sometimes earlier if things aren't going quite to plan. So you can just kind of swing in a bit. Bracket 2 definitely does have a bit of a winning problem. It's a little bit tricky. Oh, the Scryfall filter FO discard for full Oracle would be get blood because it lets you search for the Oracle and reminder text and everything. That's really good to know. I did not know that. FO discard. Yeah, because that'll get me the Quill as well. Yeah, that's super helpful. Oh yeah, it hits cycling as well, I guess. Yeah, sure. That's interesting. In some cases, hitting cycling might not be helpful, but that's really good to know. True. One with nothing might be a little goaded here. Uh, yeah. Malfagor. Let's go. Let's pop off. Um, yeah, I'll need to look at my options for discard. It's a very cheap Imscar aggressive deck. So I was very happy to see that there was a one of these effects. Walking Atlas, I think. Yeah, one of those effects that had flying as well. Like it's just that's lovely. And it's a funny little UFO. Night Ears Nightblade. Yeah, I have some aristocrat stuff, but I'm not I'm currently not opting to go very hard on aristocrat stuff for this deck. Doing a lot more like beatdown stuff. Like I think I have like one, two, three, four, five, six. I have 7 cards with power type equal to the number of artifacts you control, and then like a doubler and a couple beatdown guys. Some other stuff that goes pretty fast. An earlier Herald of Anguish is gross. So this deck is definitely going more for a beatdown win con rather than an aristocrat style thing. Uh, Opinions on EDH being the default new player format for overall game format health. So I wish more people were getting into stuff outside of Commander. I think it'd be cool to see more of an emphasis put on draft formats. I would love to see another like conspiracy set. I don't know if that. I don't have a sense of whether that's a draw to newer players, but I think li- kind of more casual-ish limited formats would be or seem like a good way to also get newer players into the game. Um, though aside from that, it's basically just arena. I feel like I don't know if like casual constructed is still a thing. I really don't have a sense of that. Being an EDH YouTuber who's been playing the game for like, you know, a long time, 13 years or something. Delirium Skeins is pretty funny. Oh yeah, Scourge familiar. That it's the one that you discard to get black mana. Yeah, that's it's a wild card. I can see it though. Honestly, that's not a bad card. Um, because this deck does get like kind of pretty dramatic amounts of card advantage, so I could definitely see that working out. I know. I know. Yeah, draft is intimidating. Sealed is intimidating, or not sealed. Cube is intimidating. I like to think that sealed is more a better jumping in point. Although I know it can still be overwhelming. Like there's just naturally going to be some players who are kind of, you know, quicker at deck building earlier in their Magic career than others. Because because I've definitely, I've seen players where you kind of get them into the game and they're, you know, kind of getting it, putting together stuff. It might not be the best deck, but at least they're like able to like put together something. Whereas there are definitely other players who like it kind of takes them a bit to get that deck building impulse. So Scourge Familiar is not an okay card. Man, Otter TV, you're still pushing that for Axiom Portal. Oh, wow. I feel like, yeah, Dice dude, I feel like Jumpstart is potentially a really good onboarding route for newer players. I also feel like that you can build. I feel like you can build like a Jumpstart format that is interesting to older players as well. Like, I feel like there are ways to give a little bit of kind of curation and customization feel, while still keeping it very approachable. That's definitely an area I think would be cool to explore more for sure. Pauper. I don't know if I would say the closest thing to casual constructed is Pauper, but I also don't have a sense of how how wide the brewing is in Pauper versus Standard. I think it is pretty wide in Pauper. Um, in current Standard, who knows? But yeah, definitely Pauper has a pretty like fast, aggressive metagame. It's still like a very kind of the decks tend to be pretty simple, so I think it's still decent in that way. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely depends on the player. I think EDH is nice because you can build a deck and hop into a game without needing to follow any sort of metagame or be competitive in any way. So I don't know. I Popper could be the solution for some people. I think if they're just looking for a simple deck and they're willing to get kind of into the kind of intense deck building aspect of it, willing to like make a deck that does some good stuff by turn 4, because that really is what you need to do to survive in Popper. Is you need to be developing stuff fast, or building up suppression fast. I don't know. Do I think I will do another $25 deck pool? Stay tuned. Not gonna get too much more into it than that. They do jumpstart cubes battle boxes too. I like the idea of commander jumpstart with random partner commanders. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder. In theory, like you could. I think if you're willing to break color restrictions, there are some cool like commander cube options. Like if you give people like a jumpstart set where there's like one default commander, but then there are like a handful of other legendary creatures within the jumpstart pools. I think that could be pretty cool. Give you a lot of options. There are definitely options. Although I kind of wonder who Commander Cube is for. Um, because I know in my ideal world, Commander Cube would be a way to get Commander players into Cube. Um, but I think that might be wishful thinking on my part. 15 card Pioneer 15 card Pioneer Highlander. That's wild. That's really funny. Yeah, I think if you have a bunch of people with like a brewer's instinct, I think doing some sort of custom format is super, super cool. And that can be like a really, custom formats can be so cool if you can like construct them in a way where they're balanced, but also like the kind of possibility space of it isn't too like the possibility space of it isn't too tight. Like you can or too figured out. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. Yeah. Elder Kellen Highlander. There are a lot of Kellens. Yeah. Whip of Erebos is a really, really good card, so I I always wish it wasn't money, but it is a very, very good card, and I understand why. This conversation also reminds me of Dan Dan. Yeah, Dan Dan. I don't know who Dan Dan is for. That's an interesting format. I don't know. I think in principle it makes for a good. I like the idea of it. Like I like the idea of using cards in creative ways, like in a shared deck. I think that's the sort of thing that makes for some cool custom formats. Is kind of breaking out cards into new or different use cases. Um, I think the blue Dan Dan list in particular doesn't really appeal to me personally, but I think in principle it could be cool. So there is Jacob and Burn. That's hilarious. uh, there are definitely red versions of Dan Dan. I don't remember what the core card is. Uh, red Dan Dan. Sure, I'll click on this top Moxfield deck called Red Dan Dan. Greg, sorry. Oh, that's so good. Oh no. I love it. Oh Lord. What on earth? We got like a bunch of ping? A little bit of ping. Shake the foundations has got to be crazy here. Wow. So how auto include is Whip of Erebos? Uh, so I think I like to keep my budget decks pretty budget generally. Like both for like obviously I don't need to buy cards for it reason, but also just keep the list that way even if I have access to more expensive cards. Um, that is partially because I'm a YouTuber, and if I have public decks, it's nice if they are budget. You know, if people stroll over to my Malphagor deck and they see it's like a $100 deck or whatever, that's a lot better than if they stroll over to it and see it's a $200 deck or something. So I like that aspect of it, and then also just like for some decks, I find it better to put a budget cap on it. Specifically, budget works as a kind of stand-in for power in some ways, not in all ways, but in some ways. That's kind of what I do with my Rata deck is, you know, keeping out the expensive cards keeps out some amount of stuff that I wouldn't find as interesting. So I think that's another reason to run uh, budget stuff for me at least. Unrelated, but if I run Possibility Storm and unrelated, but if I run Possibility Storm in all of my red decks, am I a bad person? See, I feel like Possibility Storm is like a chaos card that feels like a stacks piece. Uh, right? Like that's like one of the most stacksy chaos cards. I don't know. It's funny. I definitely wouldn't run it in every deck, but I think Possibility Storm is more justifiable to me than something like Warp World, or something similar like that. Yeah, Whip of Erebos I specifically definitely have some nostalgia for because I my original commander deck was mono black built during Born of the Gods. So I was hype on that Whip of Erebos. I was hype on that Erebos. I was, enjoying all sorts of that stuff. Yeah, proxy everything is, that's a valid move. Uh, I definitely think being open to proxying is good, and I'm probably gonna try and build a cube at some point later this year, and I'll definitely proxy that because buying that is expensive if you're running kind of nice cards. But yeah, I don't know. I usually buy paper cards for my decks just because I don't really have a reason. I just kind of like having them in paper. Once Commander costs at most 10 reals without the commander. That is like $2. Wow. That's wild. I respect it though. That's kind of fun. I'm proxying it. Let me see who's to anger blue players. Proxying is definitely great for testing a deck. Yeah, it's just nice in general if you don't want to like have a collection. Because like there are times when it's like, okay, I pull a card, I'll see if I need it for a deck later. That can be kind of nice because you can just put together decks on the fly. But if you're not having a collection, not having like a major group of cards, then yeah, proxying works just fine. Phyrexian, okay, I will say, Phyrexian Portal did not fit in either of these decks. It does not make sense in either place. However, that's a really funny card. So I might try and find a deck for it at some point. I do enjoy, because it is just like a decent colorless value engine. I mean, it exiles your deck pretty fast, I think, because you exile, yeah, theoretically you can exile your deck pretty fast, but it's still pretty funny. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I am kind of done with my deck building for the morning. So I am probably going to sign off here. But I will most likely be streaming either tomorrow or the day after, doing some MTGO gameplay. Uh, so that should be kind of fun to get some standard gameplay happening. Maybe Vintage Cube. We'll see. I've considered adding a colored errata, but I don't feel like bothering really. I like the deck in green red. I think if I was trying to build like the best possible version of that deck, I might add a color, but I'm really not. I think that the deck as it is works pretty good. I feel like we've done some chat about custom formats on Magic Mirror. I think it was on the episode in December that went with my video about what EDH only players miss. So if you check out a December episode, I think we did a fair amount of custom format discussion there. I might even be able to link it. Let me see.
Hello and welcome to the Magic Mirror Podcast. I'm your host, Khan the Trinket Mage, and with me is my co-host, 33 Elk. Hi, Elk.
Let me see. What
Hello.
EDH players miss
So
out on?
let's just
Yeah. This is the one. I'll drop a link to that. Yeah. That's a good discussion of custom formats. Um, all right, with that, I am headed out. Lovely to have you all here with me.